Okay, I think that is us live. So guys, welcome to tonight's chat. You got myself, Coach Zoe, Coach Greg, and Coach James, and we're going to be taking you through some vision board training tonight. So boys, you all ready to go?
Ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, cool. So what do we want you to get out of this training tonight? So I've got some objectives for you, so we'll just go through those now. So yeah, it's just to improve understanding of vision boards. So some of you may not have come across them before. I know something new that I've been introduced to after the last week or two. Then we're going to explain the benefits of them, and then we'll go into some practical examples of how to create a vision board as well, if there's something you may want to get involved with yourself. So yeah, in terms of kicking things off, we're going to look into the theory behind vision boards and visualization and that sort of stuff. And James is going to be our man of the plan, the expert tonight. So we're going to hand over to him now. And yeah, James, if you'd like to talk us through a bit about visualization.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So what is visualization? So I looked it up earlier, and it was basically saying it's a form of mental imagery. So the way I see that is it's a glimpse into the desired future, having achieved the goals you've already set out for yourself. It's a belief that you're going to achieve them and imagine kind of what life's like having actually accomplished them. It's a really good technique to constantly reinforce that you're going to succeed, and it's going to keep your motivation in, to keep you on track. So yeah, it's a useful tool basically to help you kind of crack on and reach for the stars, you know, get everything you want out of life. So next bit.
Yeah, cool.
So what are the benefits? Visualization helps you clarify your desires, okay? When you're imagining things, you're going to have a visual representation of that in your head. And because it's your imagination, you have no limit. You can set out to achieve whatever you want to achieve. You can have whatever you want, whether it's a house, a car, a job, family. It can be absolutely anything you want. There is no boundaries to it. And it helps you, visualization is a useful tool to help you visualize the win. Athletes use it a lot. They visualize themselves kind of like winning the race. Say it's a racer, winning the race, and then they attach emotion to that. So they'll find emotion, well, they think they'll find emotions that they think they'll feel after they've won it, and they're going to attach that to the visualization. That's going to reinforce it for them. So it's only going to get stronger and more clear. So that will boost your motivation. Now, we're not athletes really, let's face it, but we can do the same thing. We can attach emotion to our visualization. So if you've got a goal of, I want to lose 10 kilos, or I want to be in the shape of my life, or hit that PB, attach emotion to that. Imagine what it's going to like visualize, if you like, what it's going to feel like having actually achieved that dream body, the weight loss, the PB, the kind of whatever it is that your goal may be. And it's going to help also kind of change your daily habits. So having that emotion attached to it, it's going to make you kind of believe in yourself a little bit more. It's going to help keep you on track, and you're going to kind of constantly make better decisions along the way. So whether that's, say you're looking to lose weight, whether that's, you know, actually getting out there and doing the steps, even though it's raining, you know, where things may cause you to fall at a hurdle, it's going to help push you through that hurdle. So it's a really kind of useful technique that we can employ. And again, thoughts create actions. If you don't have the thought, then what are we doing? You know, you have to create the action to go along with that thought. They marry up really well. Okay, Zoe.
Yeah, moving it on now for you. Oh, sorry.
I can't see it. There we go. There you go. Law of attraction. Whether you've heard of this or not, it's a universal law. It's a belief that positive or negative thoughts bring about positive or negative experiences into your life. The idea is based on the thoughts are made of pure energy, and that energy attracts like energy. So positive will bring about positive, and negative will bring about negative. I'm reading a book at the minute called The Secret, famous book, sold over like 19 million books worldwide. I've not finished it yet, but the book so far is kind of saying, it's kind of teaching you to concentrate on something that you desire with a sincere conviction that you'll receive it. It's basically saying, ask the universe for something and believe the universe is going to deliver it to you, and it probably will, which is a good reinforcement technique. You know, say I want that car, and every day you think I want that Mercedes. Say every day I'm going to get that Mercedes. At some point down the line, the universe will provide you with that nice Mercedes or the dream body or whatever it is that you're kind of looking towards. So yeah, it's great. Law of attraction is a positive thing.
Nice.
Cool.
And I think you've mentioned that you've got steps to visualization as well. Do you want to, I'm going to bring them up on screen now. Do you want to go through those for everyone?
Yeah, so there are 5 steps towards visualization, okay? The first one is you need to know what it is that you want. In order to kind of visualize and manifest something in your life, you need to have a clear idea of what exactly the thing that you want is. And then the second step is to kind of describe it in detail. So, for instance, my goal this year is to get a house. So I'm visualizing the house. But then in detail, it's not just a house. So I want the house to look a certain way. I want to have certain features in it, massive bed, huge TV. Adding detail into it is only going to kind of reinforce and like make it just concrete in your brain. It's going to help you focus and see it a lot clearer. Once you've got the detail inside it, you're actually going to start visualizing it. So the third step is actually visualizing it and then creating emotion. I touched on it earlier with athletes and kind of achieving the body that we want. But imagine how it's going to feel. So say I do get the house this year. I'm imagining how good I'm going to feel after I've got the house, when I'm in it, when I'm decorating it, when I'm living in it day to day. And obviously it feels great. But attaching that to that emotion to it's going to constantly remind you that, right, okay, every day I'm going to work. I'm working towards getting that. I'm one day closer, And then after that, the fourth step is taking daily actions. So like I just said, going to work, saving money, saving back on spending, and any little thing that you can do that's going to get you that 1% closer towards the goal. It's just taking those little manageable chunks and kind of turning them into something. The final step then is having grit and perseverance. Now, you really want to have a vision that is so strong in your mind that setbacks don't deter you. You want to see them as an opportunity to grow. So kind of persevere and carry on. Stopping isn't going to get you towards the goals. You're going to have to just kind of bite down on the mouthpiece sometimes and just walk forward. So that's the fifth step. You just got to keep on keeping on. And that's the 5 steps explained. Yeah.
And do you find like learning about this sort of stuff and reading and listening to podcasts and all that sort of stuff helps you with what you're trying to achieve as well, James?
Absolutely. I listen to a lot of motivational videos, and I know, for instance, when I'm going out on my walks, some motivational podcasts or anything like that. And as I'm doing it, I've got obviously the music in my ears, but in my mind, my brain is ticking and it's thinking about the things that I want to go for. So again, house, car, perfect body, everything along those lines. I use it a lot. I like to visualize a lot.
Yeah. And what about you, Greg? Do you like sort of engage with visualization at all?
I not in the traditional sense, so not in the way James was speaking about, but like he does make I love the point he makes about small steps daily in terms of visualization, because that's what I try and concentrate on more than actual visualization in the sense of thinking of the end goal. Having a clear idea of what your end goal is, but then understanding what small steps you have to take every single day. So when he touches on, having to do these things, then we understand that the small crappy things that you have to do every day that you dislike, whether that be responding to emails, whether that be, so for some people, not for us because we love our jobs obviously, but for some people going to work, for some people having to do the extra bit of work or the overtime in order to eventually achieve their goals, it's that cumulative effect of all the small things, but it gives you reason to do them. And it means that you actually put thought and effort into them rather than just going, oh man, I got to do my emails. Or like, how it is sometimes on a Sunday night, I got to do this check-in. And you think, actually, hold on, this could lead to, obviously for that person, you want that transformation. So it's great for them, it's great for you, and then it's great for everyone. So that's one point that you made I really like. And that's kind of what I concentrate on more on than the actual visualization of what it is of the end goal, but actually on the small little steps I need to make daily in order to get there.
Yeah, and it's another way of looking at what we talked about the other day, isn't it, in terms of like goal setting, having that outcome in mind of where you want to get to, so that getting from A to B. And then, yeah, like you can have a goal, but does that mean you're going to achieve it? Not necessarily. It's, yeah, and then, like I say, it allows you to identify those steps where you're going to get yourself those little things you have to do every day, like you say, to get you from A to B. So yeah, it's very useful practice.
But that's a brilliant point in itself, because you're talking about, like, you may not get there, but is there ever like, you may not get there, but you will get better. Is there ever really an end destination anyway in terms of growth? So, like, I know James is talking about a house and a car and a big TV. It won't end there. So, like, this idea of growth and progression for most of us never ends, and it probably shouldn't end, because the second we stop, do we actually continue growing? Now, maybe it's not in like a house that he'll want after that. Maybe it's something else. Maybe someone will actually settle him down, and he'll only have one woman at a time. Whatever that is, but like, things change and goals change. So there is no real end destination.
Yeah, that's it. It's like get there, shift the goalposts, go again, isn't it? I guess.
Mm.
Amazing. All right, then moving on. Right. So yeah, thanks, James. So yeah, so we wanted to go through like the theory of like visualization before we went into the actual practical side of vision boards. But like with this training, guys, we want something you can take away, you can actually use. So we'll start looking more into vision boards now, and you know what they are, benefits of them, and what you like steps you can actually follow to actually make your own if there's something you're interested in engaging with. So let's get a little PowerPoint back up. So first of all, what is a vision board? Well, basically it's that link between your thoughts and something that represents where you want to go. So it's a physical manifestation to what you want to bring to your life. And then, like, you know, when people think of vision boards, they sort of tend to think of, you know, collages with photos and glitter and glue and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, when you look at people's vision boards, that's what they can look like from the outside. But when you actually delve into the reasoning and the psychology behind it, that's when you see it's so much more than that. So it is something you have to really engage with. And I said this on the call the other night, in terms of goal setting, it's something you need to dedicate a bit of time to. It's not something you can just delve in and out of, like spend a few minutes here and there. You need to actually put some time in the diary, engage with it, really think about it, ask yourself some difficult questions, and then that's where you're going to get the most out of it. So in terms of, like I said just then, it's a way of bringing your dreams and desires and giving them a visual representation. And then there's that old famous saying, where focus goes, energy flows. So it's a tool that you can use to help keep you focused, maybe when those times where motivation is lacking and you're thinking, why am I doing these things day in, day out? What's the point? Look at your vision board and it can put you back on track. So the key thing with that then is have it somewhere where you can revisit it a lot of the time. So like, I don't know, it could be on the wall in the office, it could be the screensaver on your phone or your laptop. It's just somewhere you're going to frequently see it, that it just gets into your head and you think, okay, that's why I'm doing this right now. Any questions, just point them in the comments as we go through, guys, and we can pick them up. But yeah, moving on from that bit now. So in terms of, you know, what sort of things you put on your vision board, there's a few common elements. I mentioned them earlier, but those are sort of, you know, images. So I don't know, pictures of destinations. I know, like, one of my goals is to do a course out in California. So on my vision board, I might have a picture of California, say. But it doesn't have to be just pictures. It can be like tickets, stamps, I don't know, anything that gives you your goal a visual representation. And then you can include things like quotes from like role models, athletes, you know, your favorite author, that sort of stuff. And then some positive affirmations. So words which describe how you want to feel at this point in the future. And then using positive statements as well. So instead of I wish I could achieve this, you'll say I am going to achieve this. So yeah, the whole point of a vision board is to be very, very positive. And then you can also include some power words. So for example, say you're creating a vision board with a health focus, you can include words like active, fit, rejuvenate, relax, calm, anything that describes how you want to feel in the future, having engaged with this sort of stuff. So someone's just put some words here now. I don't know if I can show them on screen yet. Sense and the sea. So yeah, things like that, things that are going to link to where you want to go. And then, so in terms of building a vision board, key thing to remember, there's no right or wrong. It has to be personal. So just keep it in mind throughout the whole process when you're doing this, guys, okay? So as I said earlier, schedule some time to create this board. So you can work on then like eliminating distractions. You can focus on getting yourself into the zone, so you can really flow with it then. And then it can be helpful as well to choose a theme. So you can focus on, health, family, business, lifestyle. It's found that you can do overall view ones as well, where it's like a little bit of everything, but it'll be a lot more powerful if you focus on one aspect per vision board, just because you can make it really, really specific, which helps with the engagement with them. And then, again, just utilize a combination of the key elements. So like images, quotes, positive affirmations. Like I said earlier, anything that helps you envision that future that you're trying to get to. So I was looking online. So in terms of, like I say, I want you to have something you can take away from this. So we've given you a theory a little bit more, like in terms of visualization, then more so on the vision boards, but we've actually got like a little 6-step guide to help you create your own board as well. So I'm going to bring that up now. So yeah, this is something you guys can follow if it's something you want to engage with. So yeah, step 1, you create a list of goals. So a bit like we talked about on the chat the other night. So think a bit more long-term, set those long-term goals. So what do you want to achieve in the next 12 months, say, for example? And like I say, having the time and having everything ready is going to help you with this process. So you can really get into a state of flow with this. So make sure everything is prepared in advance. Okay, so you've got your glue, your glitter, your magazines, all that sort of stuff ready to hand. Then once you've got all that, then next step 3, you can use images that define your goals and inspire you. And one key tip, I got this on the next slide, but I'm going to mention it here, is use photos of yourself as well, guys. So that way you can envision yourself in that future point. So rather than just having this collage which has all these images without you in it, you'll create a better link and therefore get those images in your head if you've got a picture of yourself in there as well. So that can be quite handy one to do. Yeah, so make a collage, and then, as I said earlier as well, add those motivational affirmation words. And then the last one, which is being blocked out by the at the bottom, is have something, or put the board somewhere, where you can revisit it every day. So again, it just reminds you why you're doing the things that you're doing, so that when you've got us nagging you for your daily check-ins, you remember why. And then, so that's a good little guide that I found online earlier. And then some other tips as well, in terms of creating the board. You can start at the center and work outwards. And that's in terms of just making it, just quite, a nice collage. You don't want it to be too messy. And like I say, the board should have a really, really positive message, okay? So yeah, use positive language when you're thinking about what you want to include on there, and some positive thoughts about yourself as well. Sometimes we can be a bit overly critical. So yeah, try and remove any negative language out of your mind when doing this and think positive. And then in terms of the collage itself, keep it bright, keep it simple. Try not to use too many images, even though we do say images is a big part, one of the key elements of this. I can't remember the author's name now, but she recommended no more than 10 images per board. And yeah, and then finally, like I said earlier, use photos of yourself so you can envision yourself at that future point. Okay. So that's pretty much everything I came across with vision boards. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, boys?
I really like the idea of adding photos of yourself to it. If you're visualizing a nice house or a nice life, the future job, future car and everything, but you don't see yourself in it, that could be anyone's house, that could be anyone's car, that could be anyone's job. If you're not putting yourself in the picture, then it could be anyone's. It's not that strong in your mind yet. You need to keep reinforcing that. So putting a picture of yourself up there is absolutely a fantastic idea to come just reinforce, like, that's my future. I own that. It's something that I have, but I just don't have it yet. It's out there, it's mine, but it's not mine yet. It's that photos thing's a really good idea.
Yeah, as I say, it's just creating that link, and then once you've got that image in your head, that's when it's sort of you start to get that more sense of belief, which is going to make you want to do the things you said you're going to do in order to get there. So yeah, it's just, again, it's just all creating that's like psychological link between where you are now and where you want to go.
Yeah, it's going to make it so stronger and snowball. Absolutely good idea.
Yeah, a few people have asked a similar question, so I'm going to bring that up on the screen now. Is can you make one electronically or digitally? And the answer is yes, you can. So yeah, you don't have to be old school in the sense of like getting your scissors out, cutting out magazines and all that sort of sense. You can use digital software to create your vision board. Yeah, they're apps for it. Yeah, I haven't got them off the top of my head, but I'm sure we can find out and add in the comments. But yeah, you can make one, and then like say, then you can add it to your laptop screensaver, phone screensaver, anything like that. So it's there in your face every day then, so you can keep reminding yourself of it.
I suppose you could even do it on Word. Just stick a landscape, put a picture on there, and just keep adding to it. Yeah,
I don't think it has to be too fancy.
Yeah.
As long as it's like, say, it's going to give you that outcome that you want to achieve in terms of like reminding you every day of what you're working towards. Sam's just said as well, I'll bring that up on there. Photo collage is good, so I think that's maybe an app or something. But yeah, you can get loads of collage apps on the phone, so you can be creative that way.
Again, there is no right or wrong with it. You can do it however you like, wherever you like, as long as you see it all the time. That's what we're looking for, really.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So in terms of that's everything I want to say. So we're going to hand over to you now, Greg. And you're going to talk a little bit more about mindset for us, aren't you?
Yeah. So just a little reflection on why most of us are actually here. So I wanted to touch on the idea of fixed versus growth mindsets, just at a very basic level. I mean, when we try and understand where we are, most people who come on something like this would generally be of mostly on the side of growth mindset. But like people that tend to have a fixed mindset are those that see everything as predetermined, in the sense that they think that whatever traits they were given as a child or when born, that is what they are left with, and that's basically what they have to work with in their lifetime. These things tend to be ingrained in us as young kids. Maybe you were called stupid in school, or there was other aspects of your life that you feel was put on you. It's that idea of predetermination, in comparably to someone with a growth mindset that feels that intelligence, or whatever that may be, whatever that characteristic of yourself that you would like, is achieved through hard work or reflection or growth. So those of you that have a little bit more of the growth mindset feel that we are not destined to be what we were given as children. And it's nice to see so many of you guys. Dr. Carol Dweck, that's right. So that's the person who initially came up with this idea was called Carol Dweck. She was a psychologist based out of Ohio. Whoever put in that will probably correct me on that. But with this idea of growth, we don't see failure, I'm going to put inverted commas, as quite that. People who are stuck in a fixed mindset will generally see failure as a reflection on themselves. So they won't overextend themselves. They won't stretch themselves in order to achieve. They feel that they have no control over the earth. The earth has control over them more so. So they won't stretch themselves. Fear of failure, that failure reflects on them. They only have the attributes they have right now. So that failure will therefore expose said fault, right? But with those with a growth mindset will tend to look and say, right, I want to achieve this goal. I'm going to create a plan or a vision board or whatever in order to achieve this. And what I'm going to do is take small steps every day, like we spoke about, in order to achieve that. If I fail, that's fine. Failure is not a reflection on you. It's an opportunity to learn and an opportunity for growth. So if you are making a vision plan, I'll just use physique because it's what most of us are involved in right here or right now. I want to achieve 3 stone weight loss. If you get to 18 pounds and you've hit your date, that's not failure. You shouldn't look at it as failure. It's an opportunity to reassess what you have done, recalculate, I suppose, and go again. Learn from the mistakes that you made throughout that process, remove barriers, remove obstacles, and then push again. So this is why it's important. The issue is, Atomic Habits is a fantastic book. But the idea here is that we are not predestined to be something. You can be whatever realistically you want to be. And I don't mean that in the self-help kind of way. It's like you can achieve anything. Of course you can achieve anything. The reason why people don't tend to look towards the growth mindset and to expand themselves and work in progress, and everyone here is a work in progress, I touched on that earlier, is that this is going to take time. And the reason why people don't adopt or learn the growth mindset is because it's really fucking hard, right? Like, you have to make sacrifices. There's things that you won't be able to do that you do now. I touched on the call on Monday that tends to be the reason why people don't push through the 6 stages of change, is because they're weighing up the sacrifice versus the actual gains, and they see the sacrifices more. But it's great that all you guys are actually in that growth mindset. But why I wanted to touch on this is because as we go forward and as you push on towards your goal, if you stumble, if you fail, that's not failure, okay? It's a reason to assess and push again. And that's why I think this vision board can be a really good tool for you guys to use, and then we just remove obstacles as time goes on. I hope that makes sense for everyone.
Yeah, it really did make sense. And it's a bit like, yeah, we've said time and time again, it can be a bit of an uncomfortable experience. You do have to ask yourself some difficult questions, and sometimes that can be off-putting for people. But even by engaging or starting to engage in that process, you are taking action in terms of moving yourself closer to actually, like, say, getting out of that contemplation and actually putting these things into practice and having to go with it. All right, wicked. So in terms of, actually, I wanted to give you some tips so you could take away and actually try and have a go with this. But I think we've got some practical examples. I think, James, you got something you wanted to share?
Well, yeah, to finish on a high note, I'm going to give you a famous example of a celeb who's used visualization to get himself where he wanted to go. I don't know if you've all heard the story. It's quite a popular story, but it's Jim Carrey and his $10 million check. We all know who Jim Carrey is, right? But before he made it, before he was famous, he was an inspiring actor, but not doing much with his life. He wasn't getting the breaks that he thought he deserved. He come from a poor background, and so one day he just kind of said to himself, right, I'm going to write myself a check. And it said acting services rendered, and gave himself a deadline of 5 years. And he carried that with him in his wallet for the 5 years. He used to visualize, so he used to drive to Mulholland Drive in Hollywood and park up at this house that he wanted to live at, or this area that he wanted to live at, and visualize himself living there. He imagined what it was like coming home from work for the day, or walking through the door and just living his life day to day in that particular spot that he wanted to live in. And he used to kind of reaffirm it to himself, and he'd say things like, all these directors are interested in me. And he used to imagine people coming up to him and saying, I really like your work, you're fantastic. And he was the guy I took the little quote off earlier, saying, he said, I do have these things. They're out there. I just don't have them yet, but they're out there. They're mine, and I will get them. And just before Thanksgiving on the 5th year, he found out that he was going to make that $10 million for Dumb and Dumber. So it's a really good, kind of popular, famous example of someone who did use visualization and it did work for him, and he's a true believer in it. If you haven't listened to his motivational stuff, just chuck him in on YouTube. He spits a lot of really good information out, really good belief stuff. So if you're looking for kind of a positive drive, give him a check. But that's a good proof, a famous example of someone who did use visualization, and kind of he believed it so strong that it did work for him, and it can work for us too.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Like, there's nothing more motivational than writing yourself a check for that amount of money. And like, it's just creating that link, isn't it? It's like, well, this is why I want to hold my hand one day. So what am I going to do to make that happen? And and again, just having it there to have a look at every now and again, and keep driving you forward, isn't it?
Well, every time he opened up his wallet, he saw it. So effectively, that was his vision board, because he said acting services rendered, the amount of money he wanted to earn, and just his belief system in his head, every day that he was seeing that. So he didn't need like the physical example of a vision board, but he did have a physical thing in his wallet that he carried every day, saw it every day, he looked at it every day, and it was just constantly on his mind, and it pushed him to make it, and he made it.
Yeah, that's it. It's not what it's like. it doesn't have to be, when you do this sort of thing, this visualization, the vision board, it doesn't have to be your stereotypical vision board where it's a big fancy collage. It's like just whatever works for you that represents where you want to go. And then, like say, just having it somewhere close to you that you can just revisit it, reaffirm, and keep going, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, keep it close, see it every day. It doesn't need to be just whatever means to you. Noel Edmonds.
Oh, sorry, bring that back up for you now.
Broken book. I have to have a look at that Noel Edmonds one. I've not read that.
All right, then. I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to go over. But if you have any questions, guys, pop them in the comments now and we can have a little look at them. And then while some of you may be typing away, I'm going to say now, like, if this is something that you think you want to get involved with, then do it. Give it a go and see if it works for you. And we really encourage you to try it. And then, if you do have you come up with your own vision board or whatever you might want to use to help inspire you and motivate you to keep going, and you feel like sharing it, then pop it in the comments or post in the members group or in your lifestyle coaching groups, so we can see it. And you never know, it might help inspire someone else in the group as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else anyone wanted to add before we wrap it up?
Just be clear on what your goal is. I mean, you could have 100 different goals, but if that is the case, potentially like have a brainstorm session and then review the list and kind of narrow it down and just find 1 or 2, maybe 3 key things that you really want, and then make them the priority of your vision board. Because having 100 different ideas within 100 different things for each idea to expand it, like details and feelings that you'd attach to them, might just be a bit overwhelming. So start simple. Probably 1, 2, maybe 3 at most. Just keep it concise. You might be able to focus on it a little bit more.
Yeah. All right, guys. Here's the. This is going to motivate you all. Best vision board gets a grenade bar from Sam. So get on it. Get submitting them. Let's see what you come up with. Okay then. Well, I think that's pretty much it from all of us. If there's anything else you want to add, guys, or ask, just pop them in the comments below, and we can check it out and get back and help you out, or just drop us a message. Absolutely fine. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you all got something out of that. And yeah, if you're tempted, give it a go, and you never know, it might just help move you along that little bit closer to your goals. Okay. Right then. Thanks for joining me, guys. Have a good night. Okay.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.